Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar. I am so excited for you to all hear what our special guest has to share. Today, we're going to be talking about referrals. Specifically, you're going to learn a complete recipe for generating more referrals on a consistent basis. And actually, you're going to get all the ingredients that go into one very special recipe that one very special advisor has created for getting more referrals. And our hope is that you can take these ingredients you're about to learn, apply them to your own recipe, and enjoy the results that come from doing just that. So we can't wait to dive into this topic. Just to start off, I'd like to quickly introduce myself. My name is Matthew Bailey. I am the head writer and director of client content here at Bill Good Marketing. Now, I see that we have quite a lot of current clients on the call today, but we also have a number of advisors who are not yet clients. So if you are still learning what it is that we do here at Bill Good Marketing, one of the things that we do is we create marketing content pieces every single week for advisors to use. We're talking about market letters, holiday letters, etiquette messages, infographics, social media posts, ebooks, newsletters, you name it. All these things we create every week for advisors to use to help them be able to stay in front of their clients and prospects and deepen their relationships with their clients and prospects by demonstrating their expertise, showing their patriotism, and also demonstrating and illustrating the kind of caring that they have for their clients, which you're going to learn a lot about today. And the reason why that's important is because it's precisely doing that that leads to more referrals. And a number of the letters that we create, you're actually going to learn about today that go into that referral recipe that I mentioned. And it's my job here at Bill Good Marketing to oversee and produce a lot of that content. So I'm really happy to be with you today. But of course, you're not here for me. You're here for our special guest. I'm really thrilled to welcome Bryan Sarff to the call today. Bryan, it's a real honor to have you with us. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your expertise and your experience with us.
Yeah, you're welcome, Matt. Thanks for having me here. And I look forward to sharing what I've learned from so many other the gorillas before me.
Absolutely. Why don't you take just a minute to introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a bit more about yourself, your journey over the last 10 years or so.
I started in the business in '03, and I helped another advisor. That's where I learned the gorilla system, build a business based on marketing of radio shows, seminars. We probably did 300 or 400 seminars, and we did a 2-hour radio show every Saturday, and it was quite a lot of fun. And then I went out on my own and started True Wealth and Company to build it for myself. Before I was building it for somebody else, and I wanted to build it for me. And I just remember this nagging thought in my brain. I don't want to be 70 and look back with regret, going, "Why did you ever take the chance to do something to build your own business?" So I decided on this one to build it from the ground up, from referrals and strategic partners and that, and build a base and build a consistency there. And then I would begin to add the marketing pieces. So when I started in 2013, I had no clients, no income. I had to get an office and supplies. And I did a few seminars in the beginning to get started, just to get some people in. And I was about 165,000 in debt on credit cards. And I went and told my wife, I refused to mortgage the house, and I refused to use any of my retirement savings. And so I said, "Hey, we got a pretty big credit card bill, but we'll take care of it." And then business took off, and we've just hired and grown from there. So there's 3 advisors now. We have 4 support staff, and we're bringing, 2 or 3 more on in the next 12 months.
That's awesome. It's so cool to see the results and the success that you've had over the years. I mean, I think I first encountered you back in 2015, and we were already inviting you to speak on webinars, 2 years after you began. I mean, that's how quickly you hit the ground running. I mean, I'm sure it didn't feel quick for you, but for us, we were just watching in awe, seeing what you were accomplishing. So we're so glad you're with us.
Oh, thank you, man.
For all of you here, the reason we wanted to do this webinar is Bryan actually is one of the speakers at our annual advisor conference, which takes later this year in October. He's one of 10 speakers who's going to be sharing the strategies and processes that they use to achieve just outstanding growth. But Bryan's doing so many cool things. There just wasn't a way we could fit it all into one presentation in one conference. So we asked him, "Can you do this extra webinar with us and share some of the other things that you're doing. And Bryan graciously agreed. So we can't wait to dive into it. And as always, we offer a goodie bag for all of you for taking the time for joining us today. Today's goodie bag contains two things. So it contains, first of all, our guidebook on how to get more referrals. We call it How to Get Referrals Without Asking. So for those of you who are not yet clients, this especially is something that is really worth your time to get. It contains a lot of really good information on how to get more referrals. I'll talk a bit more about that at the end. And then for our clients who are on this call, you also get a new referral letter that I've personally written. It's only going for those of you who are on this call. It's not for general use for the rest of our clients. So you can get these resources just by filling out our report card at the end of this webinar to let us know how we did. And I'll show you how to do that at the end of this call. Now, let's get into the actual topic. Before we get into the ingredients that Bryan's going to share with you, I wanted to explain a little bit about what we're doing here and put everything that Bryan's going to show you into a little bit of context. So years and years ago, one of the things that Bill discovered when working with hundreds of advisors, seeing who was getting referrals and who wasn't, one of the things that he learned is that there is no one single thing that consistently will get you a high number of referrals. There's no magic bullet solution. Instead, the way referrals work really goes like this. I mentioned the words referral recipe before, and I did that on purpose because that's really what it is. When you're trying to bake cookies or bake a cake or what have you, there's no one ingredient that's going to get the job done on its own. Sugar on its own is just sugar. Flour is just flour. Even chocolate on its own is just chocolate. None of those things on their own are going to make an amazing dessert. You have to combine all the right ingredients together in the right proportions, and you got to do it every time in order to make something delicious. And the same is really true of referrals. And the result we're trying to get here is to build something that Bill calls a referral consciousness. And what a referral consciousness is whenever a client encounters an opportunity to provide a referral. For example, a family member expresses that they need help with a financial issue. A neighbor expresses how unhappy they are with their investment performance. A coworker mentions, I'd never hear from my financial advisor. Whenever a client of yours encounters an opportunity like that to provide a referral consciousness is where they're both aware of that opportunity and they are willing and able to act on it because of how they feel about you. So a referral consciousness is created by the sum of all the consistent actions and steps that you take to engage your clients, build goodwill with them. And when you can build a referral consciousness in the minds of all of your clients, the result is the kind of steady stream of referrals that advisors like Bryan get year after year after year. So that's what we're doing here. We're getting Bryan's recipe for creating a referral consciousness in the minds of his clients. So without further ado, I'm going to take a step back and really turn this over to Bryan so he can share with you all the cool things that he's doing. Bryan, why don't you just start from the beginning, what you're doing with referrals and what you're doing with your business in general?
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And anytime you have a question or anything you want to pop in with, Matt, feel free to jump in, and or if something comes into chat, you can just hit pause on me and we can go from there.
Absolutely.
So when we think about referrals, number one is having a great client experience. It's following the expert financial advisor guidelines from Bill Good, which are important to know. And then it's also about staging your office and having a comfortable office that is, that's set up that you enjoy and that your clients enjoy being a part of. And by having that experience really sets the tone for the type of business that you run. So we don't ask for referrals. Just happened today, a client came in and they brought their service dog, Barney, who was in the room, and we said, hey, do you think he'd like a bone? And they go, well, yeah, I think he'd love it. So we went out and grabbed a bone out of the referral basket, gave it to Barney, and they go, you just have these on command? And I go, well, Emily keeps it full and Kirsten does. And it's a referral basket. And so if when clients give us referrals, you can pull something out of the basket, anything you want. And then they said, well, I guess we owe you a referral now or an introduction. And I said, yeah, at some point when it comes up, send them over. We'd love to take care of them. But we want to make sure that we don't ask for referrals. I never ask anybody, give me a list of names of people or whatever. That's just not I don't like that approach, and so I don't do it in my business. Um, we want to recognize the peaks and valleys of our clients' lives, because clients have wonderful peaks that we celebrate, and they also have terrible valleys. And we want to know that we listen and we hear them. We do some events for only for top clients, and we do events for everybody as well. Um, you know, we just want to make sure that the clients that you want to replicate, the clients that you want referrals from, those are the ones that you need to do the most promotion to, and just to have natural activities where it's comfortable for clients to bring somebody along or to make an introduction. That's really well. The other part is when we're on, when we're talking on calls, if I'm doing a Zoom, we're doing emails back and forth or whatever type of in-person meetings. Our service team. So I have a service assistant that's in all of my calls with me, and she's on most of the Zoom calls and everything. And we're both listening for cues of things that we need to pay attention to. That they're going on vacation, somebody in the family's having a baby, somebody just passed away, they're retiring, buying a new home, whatever it might be. And for our top clients, we want to recognize all those items and send things of lasting value to them that's not going to be consumed quickly, but it would stay around. The other part then is once we find those items, is that we have set up some standardized processes in our business that some are recurring and some are one-offs that just happen when, like yesterday, we have a client I work with, their CPA. We called their CPA to set up a joint meeting. And the CPA said, "Hey, I just want to let you know Donnie is not doing well right now. And he's in and out of the hospital." So we got a card, we got a card from Emily. She hand wrote in a message in there. We all signed it and we mailed it over to Donnie. I see there's a quote about things of lasting value. There's some examples coming up in the slides in here. So we have like piggy banks for babies, and we have cutting boards. We have welcome mats at home. We have all sorts of ideas, and you'll see all those as we go through the workshop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So I want to dive into a few things really quick. And
Sure.
like you said, we are going to show you some examples of a lot of this stuff, but I think it's really important to understand the why of what you're doing as well as the what. So you say like you recognize the peaks and valleys of your clients' lives, and I think a lot of advisors try to do that. But in terms of referrals,
Mhm.
what's the why there? How does that tie into getting more referrals in your experience?
The whys are, it's how I'm wired. I'm a giving person. I'm optimistic, um, and I like to help everybody else feel that same way and feel that love back from us as a family. It's the right thing to do for clients, is to have that type of an atmosphere that's not salesy, not too businessy, but has good refined processes in it. It's one of our core values that we'll talk about here in a minute, that we've set for those. And then it's just uh, it's the other part is it's absolutely a service for the clients that we love, that if they have somebody they care about, they know the process we're going to follow for, making the introduction with the emails, and how we set up our first meetings, and how we do our deliverables in each of the meetings that we have, and what we do going forward, that, it follows a rhythm and a pattern. And so by clients knowing what to expect, and then we communicate so much with a weekly email, with hand holding letters here and there, with blog posts, with LinkedIn articles that I've just started to fill up, from podcasts from time to time, and webinars, and then client events. We're constantly communicating and trying to create that, that aura of that. One of the number one reasons of people leaving an advisor is not hearing from them, and so they hear from us a lot. Um, and when we see crazy market events like we've seen the last few years, we're not inundated with phone calls or emails. And that's just it's just part of who we are. It's in our DNA, I guess, of true wealth.
I really like that answer, Brian. And the reason why is because I think it illustrates a fundamental truth about what you do and about what financial advisors do. The results you've been having are amazing. You are not the first advisor to be averaging these kinds of referrals every year. We've had a number of other webinars over the past couple of years with other advisors who are achieving similar numbers. And while each of you are doing, slightly different things, you all have one in common. You're not doing this recognizing the peaks and valleys of your clients' lives, trying to stay, in constant communication with them to get referrals. You're doing it because, from your standpoint, it's the right thing to do. You're
Mhm.
doing it because you care about your clients. Referrals are the result, but they're not the goal. They're not the objective. Is that right?
100%. Yeah. It's the client experience. I mean, you have to give good advice. You have to have a good professional network to refer clients to. Um, you have to do what you say you're going to do. I think about uh, doing what you say you do is it's like playing a game of tennis where you have 1,000 courts out there where people can hit a tennis ball into your court. And
Mhm.
when that ball comes in, you can either answer real quick and send it back, or you have to put a date and a time on it, which just means you put it in the CRM and you have to follow up at a specific date and time in the future.
Right.
Otherwise, all you have is a court full of a big pile of tennis balls that you're going to trip and fall over, and you're not going to keep your promises. So we really try hard that when to answer as many questions as we can same day when clients send them in. If they're at the CPA's office, we want to get whatever documents and forms they have over to them, and it's just part of our culture at the office. And if we need time, we'll ask for time to do it. But for the most part, most everything gets done the same day or at the latest next day for any questions or things that come in for clients. And we turn that around, and that's just part of what we do. And they know they're going to get an answer, and they know they're going to get a response, and they're going to get an opinion, not just a generic response.
Right.
And that's in plain English, not in financial advisor speak.
Yeah. We have a question. What are some examples of the recurring processes that you've standardized that help increase your referrals? And I think you actually want to dive into that next. Is that right?
Yeah, let's go through those. Yeah,
Okay, great.
perfect setup. Thank you for the question.
Absolutely.
Maybe that was Emily on my team sending that in.
It could be, yeah.
So no, but it wasn't. I saw the name. Yeah, like so how we do it? Well, we have three core behaviors at our office. Uncommon care is is how we take care of our clients. It's how our clients want to be taken care of. I know the golden rule says to treat people how you want to be treated, but not everybody wants to be treated the way I want to be treated. So I ask them, how do you want to be treated? Right? What's the golden rule mean for you? What do you like? Like some people like plants, others like flowers. Some people like alcoholic beverages, some like soda, some like water, some like tea. We have all that available. And so we find out what they like, and then we follow that, and it's in our system to standardize that process. Our other two behaviors are elegant simplicity. So you have simple, you have complex, and you have elegant simplicity. That's I stole that from Einstein. And we try and look for those elegantly simple solutions where I don't print out a 250-page financial plan and give it to a client. They want the 3-page action plan with the bullet points of how to do it. They don't really care about the rest of it, to go through it all. And then the last core behavior is faith in the future, that we optimistically have faith in the future of America, of our economy, because it's what's been there. We have these temporary setbacks, but we always recover and pull through those. And I think that uncommon care is our main undercurrent. And so we sat down and asked the question. So we want to provide uncommon care. So what kind of a client experience do we want? And then we went through and we brainstormed and listed out all the different things we wanted to do for clients and make sure that we had. One is do what we say we're going to do, say please and thank you, show up on time, and be prepared of what we need to present for our clients. And then we wanted to set up, the referral basket is what Bill Goods talked about forever, that I learned from him years ago. It's our introductory kits that when I mail out an intro kit. So when somebody calls in and is referred to us, we talk with them. If they're from one of our top clients or they're from one of our top strategic partners, then we'll immediately set a discovery meeting with one of the advisors, with myself or Kenny or Brian, and then we'll sit and talk with them and do some discovery. If they don't come from a top client or from a top COI who knows the types of clients that we work with, then we'll set up a 30-minute Zoom call just to do a pre-discovery to make sure that we can actually help them. We can actually do something for them. And sometimes they don't need me. They need an attorney. They need a CPA. They have a tax question. They want to know something about mortgages or whatever. And so, or they need a loan from the bank. And then we'll make those introductions and pass those folks on to our professional network. And we give out, I don't know, 150 to 200 referrals a year outbound to our strategic partners for people that, from painting and remodeling to insurance, commercial banking. I mean, we have a whole list of people that we that are in our professional network. Um, but the introductory kit, when we mail it out, we didn't want it to go in just a regular envelope. We wanted it to go in a big blue envelope. So we have a dark blue that we use and that we sent out. We're going to upgrade that to a welcome box that has, one of our Yeti mugs in it, and has like a journal and a pen, and then has the introductory kit from us to those new clients that come in. And that blue envelope, it starts big, and then over time it goes to a regular size envelope that is still blue with a window. And so our clients told us, we love it that you send things in blue because we know it's not junk mail, and they can pull it out of the stack in their mailbox and they know it's from us.
Right.
We have a defined process for bringing new clients on board. There's no surprises in it. And we talk about it in the intro kit. We talk about it in our first meeting. We have agendas for all of our meetings. And so we have a process for discovery that we go through. And then the next meeting is we talk about their plan and our recommendations and action steps. The next meeting, we look to come together and commit to working together. And at that meeting, we can talk about if there's anything that's come up in the meetings where they can get uncomfortable, where they said, we left our advisor because we could never, we called in their office and he didn't call me back within 24 hours. Well, I'm going to take vacation from time to time, and I'm not going to be able to call you back in 24 hours. So we can talk about that in the beginning of, is this going to be an issue? Or if my team calls me or somebody else does, is that going to be fine? And so those are times that I call those putting elephants on the table. Let's get the elephant in the room, put it on the table, and let's talk about it before we commit to work together. And if there were things that popped up, they want to be more aggressive or more conservative, or their goals and risk tolerance and things are out of match. At that meeting is the great time to talk about that before you sign paperwork and move forward. And then we sign the paperwork, and then we set up a 45-day review meeting. Well, there's an 18-day meeting where the advisor calls to check in. Just, how are you doing? How's it going? Have you been able to get logged in? Any problems, concerns? And then with a 45-day is with our service processor and paraplanner that he calls in to make sure they got logged in. And if they can't, he helps them get logged in to whether TD Ameritrade or Black Diamond. And he answers any paperwork questions that they have, and they get to make sure they meet the team there. Then we have our first client review, and that's where we begin to look at, what are all the advanced planning concepts that we need to take care of, because you can't come in and tackle everything at once. It's too much for clients typically. So we do the initial piece, and then we begin to lay out what are all of the blocking and tackling we have to do, and how long is it going to take us? Is this going to take us, are we going to have to meet monthly, quarterly, thirdly, 3 times a year, twice a year? And we kind of set that customized by client, where we may start in the beginning where we meet more often, and then we meet less down the road as things go through. We're constantly communicating through onboarding. And so we have emails after each meeting. We send our notes out that we took. If there's any action items for them or action items for us, we list those. And then we follow up on those. We make sure those are taken care of. And so if there's something critical they needed to do and they didn't provide it by the next meeting, then we have to reschedule. And so we're just trying to keep everything in front, because financial planning usually isn't always number one on their list to do. And we just have to talk about that. We always promote our team. So we answer the phone. It's how can we help you? We talk about our True Wealth team, and all of us in the office are here. And so anybody can answer questions and talk to clients and all that they don't always have to talk with their advisor, all the time. And then we promote our professional network constantly. And this morning I referred, somebody to another CPA. Last night I sent somebody to a real estate agent. Yesterday I referred out to a business attorney. And so we're always looking for clients that have those issues they need solved. And if we can shorten the amount of time they have to spend, and we can also shorten the number of experiences they have to have until they can find a really good person in their network, that's what we're there for, is just to make this part of their life, which is usually stressful for most, much easier to deal with and to walk through.
So much of what you just said, Brian, I really love, but there's 2 things in particular that really jump out to me. The first, you mentioned how not everyone wants to be treated the way you want to be treated. So you
Mhm.
actually find out how people want to be treated. What do they like? What do they dislike? What makes them comfortable? What has no effect? I think the totality of doing those things is it makes each client from the moment they start with you feel like they are the most important client in the world. And if they feel that way, of course, they're going to be referring you to their
Mhm.
friends and family. I think that's really cool. And it sounds like a simple thing, and it is a simple thing. But a lot of professionals across, multiple
Mhm.
industries are not doing that. They're
Yeah.
doing the bare minimum of good service, but they're not taking that time to truly find out what it is about you, not just what you want in terms of your financial goals or what you
Mhm.
want in terms of your investment performance. What do you want that makes every interaction a positive one, makes every
Mhm.
interaction with us something you look forward to. I think that's really, really cool.
I think there's some other undercurrents as well, as that, like, I'm never interrupted. We're never interrupted in our meetings. And I would assume that's the same with everybody, but I've been in a few offices where people are constantly getting interrupted with phone calls, questions from other clients and all that while they're in meetings. And it's not how we run our office. I don't, my phone's not on when I'm in there, and I'll look at it afterwards, but that time with the client is just with them. And I don't work on anything on my computer. I don't type on anything else. That time is with them, and we're trying to make it as productive as possible. And that we have an agenda and we have something to do. And if we don't have anything to do, then you're meeting too often.
Right.
Um, because if it's just chit chat, they don't want to drive 20 minutes to your office, spend an hour, and drive 20 minutes home, and all you did was chit chat. They want to get down to business,
Right.
and so we want to be cognizant of that. And if there isn't a lot to cover, then do it by Zoom. I mean, COVID was the blessing of getting everybody to video, so we can do a quick Zoom call to save them the travel back and forth, and you don't have the obligation of spending a long time together.
Right. And
Yeah.
that sort of leads into the second thing that really jumps out to me, of what you're sharing, Brian. And it starts with that introduction kit. The reason I think that's so valuable is because right from the off, you are showing each client two things. You're showing one, everything that you are currently doing for them, and second, everything that they can expect in the future. And
Mhm.
the reason why that's important is because I'm sure every advisor on this call is doing a lot of things for their clients. But I also know from experience that a lot of times their clients don't realize all the things their financial advisor is doing for them. And if they don't realize it, if it's not top of mind, if they don't see all the work that goes into it, if they don't have expectations for what's going to happen in the future, they're not going to be thinking about it. And if they're not thinking about it, they're not feeling anything about it. And if they're
Mhm.
not feeling anything about it, chances of them referring their financial advisor to someone becomes much less. So by systematizing, showing your clients what you do and what's going to happen next, creates more of that top of mind awareness that leads to those warm feelings and that gratitude that ultimately
Mhm.
lead to referrals. Is that how you found it?
Yeah, 100%. I saw a question that popped in about what's in the intro kit. So in the intro kit is it's a thank you note from whoever took the call, whether it's the advisor or our service team. They would um, um, they would put they put my card and then their business card in there as well. We have a cover letter that just introduces them and says hello and where they came from, if they were introduced from a client or a strategic partner. And then we have a brochure that's 8 pages. So, it's 11 by 17 stapled in the middle. It's 4 pages that we had professionally created that reflects our values, our process, who we are, our network, and everything that we do. And we send that out. And then we're going to upgrade that to put it into a blue box. And in that box, we'll just include maybe we're brainstorming now, maybe a journal and a pen, along with one of our cool blue Yeti mugs that we have carved in or etched in with our name on it, and things like that we could create something that has a little sticking value whenever they receive it.
Terrific.
Yeah.
I see we have a question from Joel. He asks, do I understand correctly you have been in this business for 10 years? And where were you before? I know you
Yes.
covered this before, but maybe a quick recap.
Yeah, I've been in the business 10 years. I learned a lot about marketing from Mark Gremler. And then I also worked with Dean Barber at Barber Financial Group years ago. and learned a lot of things from him as well. So those two, along with Bill Good, along with Mike Robertson and Chad Henry and so many of the other folks that I'm not recalling their names, but they're going to be in Austin with me, and I've talked to them personally and listened to them over the years and follow their advice, and they're amazing. And it just listening to them, and the key is, I can share all this information, but unless you actually take action and go do it and follow up with it, um, you know, this is it's key that you take action with these items and implement them, because I know that when you learn it and you find a good piece, you just got to implement it and follow through.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to dive in a little bit more into another one of these items you
Yeah, do
mentioned,
it.
the referral basket.
Mhm.
I think this is one of the neatest ideas that can lead to more referrals. So why don't you break that down a little bit about what's the point of this basket, what
Mhm.
goes into it, and how do clients even know about it?
Yeah. So we talk about it when they're in the office for their 45-day review or their first meeting in here, that we just make a point that we have a referral basket. If you introduce us to somebody, be sure to grab something out of the basket, and it rotates and changes all the time. There's golf balls in there, there's speakers, there's cups from us, vendors bring stuff in, and we put all those things in there. We have playing cards, we have collars for dogs and all that. And it's right next to our drink station, where there's coffee, there's tea, there's all the sodas and waters and all the variety of everything in there that you could ever want. There's wine for later in the afternoon when the market's closed and somebody wants to have a glass of wine, or in our freezer, there's some adult beverages there that they can enjoy. And so we just try and have available what they like to have when they come in. And by having the referral basket there and promoting it, and then sometimes it ends up as a PS at the bottom of the letter. I learned a long time ago that people look at, who it was written to. Did you spell my name right? Who's it from? And then they'll read the PS, and then they go back and kind of follow the headline and read the letter. And so the PS will promote the introduction basket, the referral basket will promote other ways. Like in the fall, when you're with your friends and family this fall and you're enjoying football and barbecue, if somebody needs an advisor and you think of us, we'd love to meet them. Things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is such a cool, little part of building that referral consciousness that we talked about earlier. Because what this does, if a client comes in your office, they go, get a drink and they see this, that's planting the seed in their mind. Oh, you know what? Brian accepts referrals. He values referrals. And so they are primed to be thinking about that and to recognize those opportunities to give a referral down the road. And it
Mhm.
also lets them know how much you're grateful for their referrals. And that exchange of gratitude helps deepen those relationships as well. So, a really simple idea, but it plays an outsized role
Mhm.
in building that referral consciousness. So I love what you're doing with this.
Yeah, and then when we get referrals in, if it comes through email, then we'll grab something in the basket and mail it to them if we know what they like, or if not, we'll call them and talk to them. Or the next time we see them, we make sure to give it to them. But yeah, these items are always going in and out of the office.
Awesome. So we've talked about what you're doing, when you first onboard a new client. We've talked about, sort of what they see when they come into the office, but that's not all that you're doing for referrals. So let's dive a little bit deeper. I know there's a number of other processes that you mentioned.
Yeah, so you have Dean Jackson talks about this on his podcast, I Love Marketing. And if you love marketing, uh, go listen to I Love Marketing. It's Joe Polish and Dean Jackson. They're fantastic. Dean's very systematized and consistent, and Joe is very ADHD all over the place. They're funny together, but they have some cool stuff that they share throughout there. And so, what Dean Jackson talks about is that you have three parts of your process. You have before somebody knows you, before they become a client, while they're becoming a client, and after they're a client, right? So you have before, during, and after. And think of your marketing that way: of what are you doing before, what are you doing during, and what are you doing after. And sometimes when I looked at it originally, I go, man, we have a lot of stuff after, and we have a little bit during, but we don't have a lot before. And so then we have to kind of look at how do we begin to set this up, and that's where the introduction kit and that's where some of the promotional items and the networking and that we'll talk about in a minute that we do. But when somebody becomes a client, so in the after, we follow the Bill Good red carpet process. It's 4 letters today. I'm expanding it to 18. And the reason I'm going to 18, and there'll be one a month after they become a client, is they forget all the different things that we do.
Mm.
So we have a thank you letter that we send out. Laura Little's Chocolates. It's a chocolate place here in Prairie Village near Kansas City. We buy chocolates from her and we mail those out. Then the next letter is an introduction to the service team. Then the next letter talks about the referral process. And the next letter talks about our disaster planning process. What if something happens and we don't have electricity, hit by a tornado, who knows, whatever happens in Kansas, what's our process? And we share that with them. And in that process, we mail out laminated cards that I'm trying to get, in their wallet, in their glove compartment, in their purse. We have a magnet for the fridge, and I want to get into their cell phone because at some point they're going to be out and about and somebody's going to need a referral. And if I have my info handy nearby in their golf bag or in their phone or whatever, they can easily pass my name along or do an introduction. We also ask for feedback from our clients. And this year we did our NPS survey. We scored an 81 on our first survey we did. I had never done a survey before. I heard about it for years. And so we got a lot of great feedback, and we heard some input from clients of what they like and don't like, and we're making adjustments. So I would encourage you to do an annual survey if you haven't done one before. And the question on the NPS that they measure you on is, would you refer us to somebody else on a scale of 1 to 10? And it measures how many people would vote, lower on the scale, 1, 2, 3, versus higher on the scale. And so we have an 81 promoter score, which they tell me is really good. We have a welcome sign for everybody that comes in the office. So if you're a prospective client, a client, wholesaler, COI, vendor, whoever, if you come in and we know you're coming, there's a welcome sign that's there in the office. So how do we make sure they complete the survey? Well, we send that out a couple of times, and we remind them. And then this last year we said, hey, if you'll take, can you take 10 minutes of your time? And if you will, we'll give $20 to, feed someone, it was $20 to buy X number of people a meal through Harvesters here in town. It's just a local food bank. And then that got some people that will go, okay, I'll give you 10 minutes to fill it out. And you're going to donate money to the local food bank. Then we have a client favorites forum. So this is where we find out about what do they like, what baseball teams, college teams, were they in the military? Do they like flowers or cards? Do they drink alcohol? Do they not drink alcohol? Where do they go to school? Where do their kids go to school? All these different things that we want to find out about them. So when there is a peak or valley in their life, we know what to send them. Because if you like plants better than flowers and you have a peak or a valley, I'm going to send you a plant if you like plants, where somebody else I'd send flowers. We mailed a lot of thank you notes. I know that it's just a core principle I learned from Tom Hopkins years ago. In 99, I went to one of his workshops in Arizona, and he said, the best thing you can do is handwrite thank you notes. And so we send out a ton of thank you notes for different things on celebrating anything that happens, whether it's a prospective client, a wholesaler, COI, a vendor, anything. I've sent, thank you notes to Bill Good Marketing over the years for things. And we just always look for a way to say thank you. And it's just jot a little note on there. It doesn't have to be all brandy with your logo and everything over it, but just send it out and send it. Oh, Emily just noted in that she's writing thank you notes right now while she's listening. And then we follow our processes and we look for ways to improve. And and we're getting better and better and better at processes and standardizing things, as we go through it. And we're always looking for a way, how can we improve it? And also, how can we make it elegantly simple? So sometimes a process has been around for a long time, that you add so much stuff to it, it becomes cumbersome. And then you have to look at it and go, hold on, are we doing too much here? Is this too crazy? Are we making this too difficult, too hard? And then we look for ways just to make it elegantly simple, to keep on the core of, It's all about the client experience. It's all about uncommon care. And one of the other things that's an undercurrent on all of this, and I learned this years ago, I don't remember who told me this, but everybody has a sign around their neck that's tuned, that it says they're tuned to the radio station WIIFM. What's in it for me? Because they don't really care what's in it for you. They want to know what's in it for them.
Right.
So whatever you write, whatever you send out, whatever you talk about, it has to be about them. What do they want to hear about, not what you want to talk about? What do they want to experience? How do they want to receive information from you? And the more you can customize your delivery process, and the more you can customize what you do to their clients and how they want to receive the information and what they want to hear about, the better success you'll have, because like minds flock together. And as Bill Good says, you don't want a bunch of skinny rabbits. So if you have a fat rabbit and you want a bunch of those in there, then just make sure you do what fat rabbits like. And they'll keep coming in.
Absolutely. I love the welcome sign. Again, another little simple thing, but in my experience, clients love it. I mean, they
They
love when they
do.
walk in and they see their name. We have a picture,
Yeah.
a couple pictures of what they see.
They take them with them sometimes, and they'll take pictures with them, and they go, nobody ever puts a welcome sign in. Thank you for knowing I'm coming in the office.
Right.
It's just a
Absolutely.
little touch, but we do it for everybody, and they're always there. And that's Kirsten at the front desk, and she makes sure there's a welcome sign out for everybody that's coming in that she knows about.
And here at Bill Good Marketing, for those of you who are not clients, we have many welcome sign examples and templates that you can customize, make your own, among the other resources. So
Yeah,
very
this is yours. We
yes,
just put our branding behind it.
yep, absolutely. And there's a little bit more of a closer look at one of these welcome signs, and that's your
Somebody
logo on there. That's it. That's your torch. Is that correct?
somebody posted a note in here if they can get our client favorites for me. I'm happy to send that you have that, Matt. You can add
Mhm.
that and send it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll put in my email into the chat. Anyone who would
Okay.
like a copy of that, just shoot me an email. I'll be happy to send you a copy of Brian's form. And Brian, thanks so much for sharing that.
Sure.
You also, when they come in, it's not just the welcome sign. They have this really cool binder that
Mhm.
they see. And I
Yeah.
think it does a lot of things we've already talked about in terms of how it makes people feel and what it
Mhm.
makes them think about you. Why don't you break this down a little bit for us as well?
Well, I mean, look, I'm no designer. And it's just not my thing. Um, and so one of our clients was an interior designer, interior decorator, and I said, and she's a target client, a top client, and I asked her, I said, um, can you design our lobby for us so it's really comfortable and inviting, and it's what you would like to see when you walk into a financial advisor's office? And she said, sure. And so she designed, you come in and you've got this table, you have the couch that's there. There's two chairs across from it you can't see. We had a local artist in town. It was the first time I'd ever have somebody paint something for us. I don't know if we have a picture of that in here or not, but we have that as well. And then we have the reception desk where Kirsten is sitting at, and then behind her, it's a blue wall with our color blue with our logo cut out of aluminum, and
Mhm.
that's what you walk into when you come off of the elevator. You've got these big, glass doors that you walk into it. And we wanted it to be inviting, transparent, open, comfortable. And then we don't have TVs up there blaring, financial news and all those things. As much as possible, we try and have, I see this as a picture that shows the Wall Street Journal up there. I've removed that from the front. So now there's magazines of clients' hobbies that we know they love
Mm.
are there for them to flip through and read, but we try and get all the financial stuff out of there.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we have some pictures of the binder itself.
Yeah. So in there, yeah, we have this binder that over the years, like this is for this last year. I've got these going back forever, that we get pictures and thank you notes and everything from clients, and that we put them in a binder and it's laying there in the lobby, and people can flip through and see the experiences that people have had working with us and events and whatever it would be. And so as they come in, we keep those. The big clock. Can you go back? Let's say I think one slide, maybe. Well, see the big clock that's above the drink station.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
During the Christmas holiday season and Thanksgiving, we get a lot of cards in, and we tape them all around that clock every year, and it's just
That's cool.
full of all the stuff that comes in. And then at the end of the year, we take that and we put it into our binder and save that sits out there so somebody can flip through it and look at it.
I love that. And do clients mention this when they sit down and meet with you? Do they ever bring up the binder and what they saw in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they just say it's pretty cool to see what people have said and what they have shared, and just to know that, um, just to know that it shows that we care and that we really are here for our clients to illustrate our core value of uncommon care.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that word show, I think, again, is critical.
Mhm.
All of you listening, I am positive that you care about your clients. How are you showing it? Little ways like this are such a powerful way of
Mhm.
illustrating that. So that's so cool. You mentioned your client favorite form. We have a
Yep.
picture of that right here. You've already sort of broken that down.
Mhm.
And again, anyone who'd like a copy of that, feel free to shoot me an email. I put my address in the chat box. I'll be happy to send that to you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and questionnaires like this, they're so
Mhm.
powerful. So that's really
Well,
neat as well.
and then one of the bottom ones in there, I was in the Army and the reserves,
Mhm.
and I just want to know who's a veteran client of ours, and that we can do things for them. Years ago, I had a client of mine that was a Vietnam veteran, and I called him one year on Veterans Day. I go, "How you doing today, Alex?" And he goes, "Man, I'm having a bad day today." I
Mhm.
said, "Why is that?" He goes, "I'm pissed off that." When I got my Purple Heart from Vietnam, they sent it to me in the mail and I didn't get it pinned on me like everybody else does. And I go, "Well, where's your Purple Heart?" He goes, "Well, it's been in my sock drawer since I came back from Vietnam." And he didn't do anything with it. So I had a client of mine that worked at the VA, and I called him. I go, "Hey, do you have somebody there that could pin this award on Alex?" And they go, "Well, sure." Well, I thought it would just be a few of us. Well, it turned out to be this big deal at the VA in Independence, Missouri, and all the veterans showed up, and 3 TV stations showed up, and the head of the VA and the mayor and all that were there, and it was a really cool event that I thought would be 3 or 4 people, and it turned into be like 50 or 60.
That's
And
amazing.
we told him it was just to recognize his son-in-law who was getting recognized by the police force. He was getting an award, and so when the sergeant went up there, no, I think it was a major from the Marines came up there and said, "Alex Fulton front and center." I leaned forward. I was sitting behind him, and I go, "Alex, today's for you, buddy." And so he got it with his cane. He went up there. They got the Purple Heart pinned on him. We gave him a flag that we'd flown over the U.S. Capitol in his name. We got that idea from you guys. Just a really cool special day. And then they interviewed him, and you can go on YouTube and watch this. He said, "My life is now complete," and it was really cool experience for him and for us and for everybody involved.
Oh, what a neat story. That's so cool, Brian. I love that so much.
And we try and do crazy stuff like that. When I hear about it, we just let's go make it happen.
Now, that's the uncommon care that you mentioned earlier. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Sandy asks a really good question. A lot of clients are on Zoom. What's the plan? What's the client experience there for when clients are meeting with you virtually?
Well, they're still getting the introductory kit, and then we'll mail it to them if they have their mailing address, or we'll email it to them that way. We still have the agenda that we send to them in an email, and I pull it up, in the meeting when we're going through that. Emily is there with me, and she's taking notes as we go through that experience. And we do all of it digitally. We go over their plan on the Zoom screen. We go through our action plan on the Zoom screen. We'll go through their documents on there, and it's really interactive, and they enjoy it. And we still follow the same red carpet process and everything. We've just, and one of the things, like you see my background here, it's a picture my brother-in-law took of the Kansas City skyline, and so I have multiple backgrounds. Nobody wants to see your. If I showed you what was behind me, my ugly windows, right? It's just not appealing. But this cuts that out, and it's just a feature of Zoom. Pay for the paid version of Zoom, and set these pictures up in your background and customize it. I use a real microphone for all my meetings. I've got a HyperX red microphone here, that I use to make sure the video is good. And I've got a good, what is it? A Logitech. I know it's like a $500 Logitech webcam that I bought on Amazon to have good 1080. It's HD 1080p video quality, so that over Zoom, number one, you want to look good. Number two, you want to sound good. And number three, you've got to have good deliverables that are prepared ahead of time. And then you've got to have a number of spreadsheets and things that you can pivot to. So if clients ask you questions and you normally draw in your office and you like to draw on paper, then you need to invest in a drawing pad that you can hook up to whiteboard or to Zoom, so that you can draw for them on your Zoom screen. And then you can even get fancier. And there's and I'm just learning to use this. I think it's a webcast technology that has some it has all these different buttons on it that you can program the buttons so that I could split the screen. So it's like me on one side and my content on the other side. I can then push another button and put me full screen, another button and put the content full screen. And then you can bring in other slides and everything on there with just a click of a button. So you don't have to click with your mouse and go open everything and all that, and just make it a seamless experience. That takes some practice. I'm trying to learn it to up my game on Zoom.
Right. Excellent. Okay, so you mentioned before recognizing the peaks and valleys. I think this is so critical to
Mhm.
getting more referrals, is doing just that. And I know you have some processes on how you recognize those and
Mhm.
participate in them with your clients, starting with your condolence process. And tell us a bit about this.
Yeah, I just had a client. She lost her husband Friday, or she lost her husband Thursday. She called us Friday to let us know. Really sad. Been clients for a long time, and just heartbroken that he's no longer with us. But we take down the details as much as we can. We go and find the obituary. We start our process in the CRM. Because we got to start making changes. We don't want to mail a letter out that that says Brian and Laura when I'm no longer there. Laura doesn't want to see me on there, because it's like, well, didn't you just listen to me? I just called you and told you he passed away.
Mhm.
And now you're sending a letter out with their name. We go and change emails and everything to make sure that we don't make that mistake. We let the office know when we have a big peak or a valley. We modify the CRM and all that. We had a blurb. We have a piece that's in important information. We had a bold blurb to let them know that somebody just passed away and all that. And then we always tell them, look, all the planning we've done, there's nothing you have to do over the next 12 months. If somebody tells you you have to do something in the next 12 months, call me. Let's talk about it, especially financially. And then let's set up when you're ready to talk about estate planning and go through titling, beneficiary, trust and a will review. When they pass away, we send out a card that has a handwritten letter in there that we use from Bill Good Marketing. And then we also mail them a peace lily to them to express just our heartfelt condolence with them. Anybody in the family that we have in our database, we send them a peace lily. We'll go to the visitation or the funeral if we know about it. Sometimes they don't tell me till after. Sometimes we know ahead of time. And then one of the coolest ideas from Bill Good was for the Bill Good system was about forget me nots.
Mhm.
And so they're flowers that we mail out on the 1 year anniversary of the death of the client. We mail this 1 year anniversary card with the forget me nots in it, and for them to plant and to remember their loved one, because it takes, you never forget obviously, but it takes 2 or 3 years. And so we send this out after that first year, just to let them know that we remember, we hear them, and we know that they're grieving, that they're going through.
Right. And,
Mhm.
this is so important because when a client knows that you know what they're going through and you are taking the time to, express your feelings to them about it, you're taking the time to reach out to them, you're sending them something physical like this, that your client will never, ever forget it. It will
Mhm.
stay with them for as long as they are with you, for as long as they live. And it's
Matt, it's
such a
anybody
way to
we
build
know.
that relationship. Yeah.
If
Go ahead.
it's a client, prospective client, vendor, COI, anybody that we know, I mean, we fire up this process and go.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a tough time to get through. Yeah, and this is the letter that we send out.
Right. But of course, there's also peaks, not just
Yeah,
valleys. I love this one.
babies are awesome, right? We love them, and they come in. So we send, we text, email congratulations when it happens. We almost always get a picture back, and we ask them for the baby's first name, middle name, and birth date. We personalize an aluminum piggy bank with their first name, middle name, and their date of birth. And then we mail them this letter that kind of talks about, financially speaking, what's it going to cost for the baby, right? And
Right.
so we go through that, and we update that every few years. And we mail them the letter, and we send them the first dollar coin that they can put in the piggy bank, and then we add them to the birthday campaign, and then we recognize the big birthdays after that. One, and then it's usually in anything that ends at a 5 or a 0. We recognize going forward, except like at 18 and 21 are fun as well.
Right. This is one of the most popular letters in our entire content library. We actually just updated it about a month or two ago. So
I
for any
saw
of
that.
you who are clients, please make sure you download this and use it.
Mhm.
because it really does work wonders
What's
when
awesome.
clients get this. Yeah,
And every time we send these out, we get a phone call or something back or whatever to say thank you to us for thinking of them and recognizing this time in their life.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned
What is it?
things of lasting value. I
Yeah,
think
there
that's
you
the
go.
term you used. Things of lasting value.
Yep.
Here's a great example of one.
Piggy Bank and the Elephant Bank are awesome.
Uh-huh.
And there's you can just go to Amazon, you can key in personalized piggy bank and you can order them. I think they're under, Emily's listen, or what are they, under 25 bucks, Emily? Um, and you can order them and you can have it personalized and they'll send it to you and then you send it to the client with all your good stuff. And off you go. And it's just part of the process.
Right.
And that never leaves their bedroom. I've been years later and clients, a decade later, I still see it sitting around somewhere. It's pretty cool. Yeah. She says 20 bucks. And then we have an engraver here in town that does it for us. Then on child birthday, so at 16, we send them a gas card. 18, we send them a wallet with a buck in it. We also send a reminder letter on getting their power of attorney set up to their parents, because a lot of people don't know, once your kid turns 18, if they get in a wreck and they need medical advice, you better have a sign off. Or if they're headed to college, the kids don't have to send you, they don't have to share any of their grades or anything with you. So we get the POA, and I forget what the form is called with the school, but you guys can look that up. It's just reminding parents that when your kids are at school, that they can share the information with you. And this is the letter we sent out. This is a letter we sent out as well. And then at age 21, we sent out 2 investing books to
Right.
get them started on the right path. And we encourage them, when they're ready, set a Zoom meeting with us. And then we try and pair personalities with the advisor. So not all of my clients' kids work with me. Some of them work with Kenny. He's younger, and they might connect better with him. So, but yeah, we want to make sure we send that out.
Right. And of course, you have all these other kinds of etiquette expressions, as you call them, other things of lasting value.
Oh yeah, I mean it's when we look at we just had our spring fling. It's an annual dinner that we started this year because we heard from clients they wanted to see us more than once a year for an annual celebration. So we thought, let's add spring fling in. We talk about taxes and estate planning, but then we want to recognize any milestones that have happened. If somebody's retired or they had a special anniversary with True Wealth, if they've had a wedding anniversary, a big birthday, something they want to celebrate, if we know about it, we bring it up and we ask their permission before I share with the room. And if they have anything they want to share, it was so great this last time just to hear clients on, if you have a 50, we had clients with a 55th year anniversary, and we were asking him for wisdom, and he said, "Well, I just do what she says, and it makes it easy." And then she said having a good sense of humor, and so it's really fun stuff with clients. Marriage, we send a cutting board with their name engraved on it. I think there's a picture coming up of that.
Mhm.
We have an entry mat we order with it's welcome to, and it has their address on it. I did a word picture for Bill Good years ago that was in the shape of a gorilla. So
Uh-huh.
you can go on Etsy, you can look for things like if somebody's a jogger or a bike rider, or if they're a swimmer, or if they're really into certain animals or things, you can find those and you can make basically a word cloud inside of the animal, and they'll mail it to you with just that piece, or you can put a frame around it. Milestone birthdays, we've done card your yard, we've done special flowers, we've done dinners with friends and family. We had a clock for a while that we had that we call retirement making work optional. And when clients are work optional, it doesn't mean they retire, but they can when they're ready.
Right.
And so we send them a clock and it says like work optional since, let's say 2023. Veterans, I told you about the Purple Heart and the flag over the Capitol. Breast cancer, a friend of mine wrote a book called Nordy's at Noon. Her name's Jen Johnson. She went through breast cancer as a young mom and she was pregnant. And a bunch of them met at Nordstrom's for lunch. So they have a book called Nordy's at Noon. You can get it on Amazon. And it's wonderful to give to clients, especially anybody who has breast cancer. But I've given it to anybody I know that has a cancer of any kind. We mail that to them. Anniversary, we've done a bird plaque. It's a plaque on the house. It has 2 little birds on top, and then it says, this house established, in 2017, 2020, 2015, whatever the year they got married. We put it on there and send it to them. We sent COVID baskets to our COIs to survive COVID when they're all locked at home in their offices. Every year we take a basket of goodies to CPAs. So we'll put a basket or a bag together and deliver, you know, energy drinks and nuts and popcorn. We kind of learn what they like and all that. Um, and we put this whole kit together.
Mhm.
So number one, to think about us, but number two, just to know they're going through long nights and that type of the year. This year we call it our Trueversary, which is their anniversary with us. And so when we hit their anniversary each year, we send them. This year we're doing Pickwick Candles. It's a local candle place, and we bought 270 candles. And when our clients hit their Trueversary, we'll mail it to them in a box, and off we go. And then we have snacks in the lobby that they can get, and whatever they want, protein bars, or they're hungry, they skipped a meal, or they want some nuts, coffee, trail mix, whatever. It's all there, and it's just stuff they've told us they wanted, and we just have it, and it's always on hand.
Excellent. And like you mentioned, we do have some pictures of some of these things.
Yeah. So from the left to the right, those are some of the thank you cards that we send. And one of the cards we have for the kids, we have the dogs' birthdays that are there, and we have the dog collar. That was, my sister just got married, and so that was the cutting board we sent to her. And then the Pickwick candle is there on the right. And you can go online and find these things, and they're not overly expensive to have them personalized. But when you personalize it and customize it to them, and it's something that they'll appreciate, they just love it.
Right.
They really do.
Absolutely. Excellent. We're running out of time, but I want to just make sure that we share one or two other things that you're doing.
Fire away. I'll go quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a channel we're on Teams. We call it Winning. And when you have anything at all that comes in that is positive, we post it on there, whether it's a comment in the hallway, an email, phone call, letter, whatever, pictures, we post it to Teams so everybody knows the wins that are coming in.
Mhm. Absolutely. We let's see. Also, your events. I want to make sure you touch on this. I know that's a big part of it.
Yeah, a holiday, we did our holiday movie event. Those are the two advisors in our office, or they're business partners of mine. We all own True together. Brian Paulson's in the middle, and then Kenny, both dressed up as Elf running around. I probably should have dressed up as Papa Elf. That'd have been fun, but it was a great time, and clients loved it, and we had a hoot. And then their characters to pose and get some pictures taken. That was good.
Wonderful.
And at all of our events, we take pictures at the events, and then we get their we get their permission, and then we print those pictures, and then we send them the pictures afterwards in a little picture binder that says True Wealth on it. And then we get their permission to post on social media and those things as well, and they just love it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I know this is something you guys are working on right now.
Yep. I mean, testimonials are now live for advisors. So picking out how you can do it and setting it up. And we're going through the process now where they're going to have some written testimonials. The best ones will have some videos. But the key part I learned was you have to make the offer for everybody to be able to review you. You just can't send it to your favorite clients. You have to send it to everybody or nobody. You got to get their permission. And then those that give you the best glowing reviews, then ask them, hey, can I have you interviewed? And you can have a longer testimonial created for your website. We'll have a web page with testimonials on it, and then we'll do videos with the best ones as well. Yeah, that'll be done by the end of this year.
Excellent. Well, we're just about out of time. As you can see, there's so much that Bryan is doing, more than we can even do in just this one webinar. So if you like what you heard, some of the things you learned from Bryan today, we highly encourage you to come to our conference in October. It's our annual Advisor Con. This year it's in Austin, Texas. It's October 5th and 6th. If you are a client, we strongly recommend that you come. But even if you're not, this conference is for you too. You're going to hear from 9 other advisors, 10 including Bryan, all sharing their most important strategies and processes for achieving the kind of results like that Bryan has shared with you today. I mean, it's 2 days that is absolutely jam-packed with good ideas, best practices, the exact steps and resources that you need in order to grow. I'm so excited, Bryan, for you to be there. I can't wait for this conference.
Thank you, man. I look forward to it. It's going to be an absolute blast.
So please take a look at that. We'd love to see you down there. It's really going to be amazing. If you're not yet a client and you want to start, doing some of the things that Bryan's doing, creating your own referral recipe, give us a call. Let us talk with you. Find out where you are, where you want to be, determine what ingredients you need and what is available to you in order to get the kind of referrals that you want to grow your business. So if you're interested in speaking with one of our most senior coaches and getting your own growth potential analysis, your own plan for growth, just let us know on the report card, and we'd be happy to chat with you and see how we can help and what you can do. I promised that anyone who was able to attend would get their own goodie bag, and we definitely want you to get these goodies. Again, we have our referrals guidebook, which contains lots of best practices, tips, tricks, do's and don'ts, really everything that we know about what helps advisors get referrals. And then for clients, we have a new referral letter that I'll be sending to you individually. So in order to get that, just fill out our report card. Let us know what you got from this webinar, what we can do better on in the future. You can visit the report card there. The link's on the screen. The link's also in chat that you can click on it, and it'll take you right to the report card. It takes you about 60 seconds to fill out. Just one final note. I hope you all see everything that Bryan is doing here. None of it is something that only he can do. These are all easy, simple, really just thoughtful things that you can do for your clients to show them what you are doing for them, show them how much you care about them. And the more you do these things consistently with all of your clients, the more you create that referral consciousness, and the more those referrals are going to start coming in. That's Bryan's recipe. You've got all the ingredients. So your marching orders are to review everything that you just learned, compare to what you're doing, see what you can add, see what you can tweak, and we can't wait to see the kind of referral results that you get from it. So all of you, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. And Bryan, again, we're so grateful for you taking the time to share all these amazing things with us.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And one of the things that, it should have been prevalent in what I was talking about here, but our team at True Wealth is absolutely amazing and everything they do every day and all these things that we have. I mean, if it was just me, I'd fail at all of them, trying to do all this stuff, but my team is amazing. Our team is amazing. The whole group that we have of just committed to clients, providing that uncommon care is just outstanding. And that's really another reason for our success, is that training and everything that we do with all of our team members that we bring on.
Excellent. So everyone, thanks again so much. Again, if you like this, come to AdvisorCon in October. We just finished our agenda. You can see everyone who's speaking and what they're speaking on. So check that out. We can't wait to see you in Austin. And from everyone here at Bill Good Marketing, thanks so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.